Hi, my name is Jackie Lee Price and welcome to Shadowboxing. How you doing?
I'm okay, not bad, how are you?
Yeah, I can't complain, to be honest with you. I cannot complain. How is life treating you in quarantine?
Yeah, I mean, it's all right. It's just like being in camp, isn't it? You know, just tucked away, working, training hard, and, dedicating yourself, and that's it, really. Just with no date in sight at the moment.
So is it almost like you've got this covered because you go through it quite a lot, as you say, like in camp?
Yeah, I think for most boxers, it's the same sort of thing, really, isn't it? It's not really too different to being in camp and just, we don't really have much of a social life anyway during camp. It's just hard work and dedication, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So you've got big news. So firstly, 5-0, doing
Yeah.
really well in the pro team. You've had quite a nice, smooth transition. And then you've just been picked up by Matchroom. How did that happen?
Yeah, well, I boxed on the undercard of Scott Quigg and John O'Carroll at the arena. And yeah, it went well, and they was impressed, and managed to secure myself a deal with them,
Wow.
which I'm absolutely over the moon about. It's big, massive, really, something that I've dreamed of having since being a young boy. So it's unreal, and I just can't wait to crack on now and wait for this to all blow over and really crack on with this chapter.
I mean, what was that like to box under on the undercard of the? Is it Quigg? Was it the Quigg fight? Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
Quigg and Carroll, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great, really. I mean, I'm one of them young. Growing up as a boxer, I've always gone to, the public workouts, the public, the press conferences, the weigh-ins, and I just enjoyed every single minute of it. I enjoyed being part of them and just going through the whole experience of being there in a big fight week. Although I was on at like 5 o'clock, I think, just being part of all that was the same. It was sort of like a dream come true, really. And then in terms of the fight, that was just a fight for me. I don't think I didn't really let it get to me too much that I was on in the big arena on Sky Show or anything. I just for me that was work, and that something that I'm very good at. I think there's someone in front of me trying to beat me, so I can just sort of switch off and focus on that.
But you must have after gone flipping it.
Well,
Do you know what I mean? I'm here. I've reached.
Well, no, I think it's sort of it doesn't settle in really. Like I think a lot of people say to me, "Oh, it's big news," and I sort of just go with the flow, me, and sort of try and keep my feet on the ground. I've got a good family as well that help me do that. Good friends as well, also. So it's not too hard really.
And you're part of a nice camp, aren't you? Jamie Moore, your coach, and also Dribble, aka Nigel Travis. Lovely team up there. You've got Chantal Cameron, Rocky Fielding,
Yeah.
Carl Frampton. I mean,
Yeah.
just being part of that setup, what's that like?
Like you said, like some of the names you just give us there, there's some great names out there. There's big, massive names in boxing, and people that I've also looked up to my whole life, really. And to be part of that in that gym, it's learning every single day. Even some days when we're not training, just talking to them and being around them, it's learning. So I'm like a sponge, me, and I just take it all in because I'm only 20 at the start of my pro career, and it's all just really great experience, and I couldn't be in a better position in my eyes.
I mean, talk about sparring Frampton. The first time, is it a bit like you had to kind of go, don't embarrass yourself, don't get too excited, be cool, be cool?
Well, I think the first time we sparred, my brother was my amateur coach, and I went over there, I was still an amateur. And for the first round, I was sort of like, I couldn't believe it was real. I went back and my brother slapped me, he said, what was that? He goes, he's got two arms as well, like, he's not got three arms, you know what I mean? Don't be too wary. Like, he's after good work, give it him. So then I thought, right, I can't embarrass myself here. So then the sparring went well, and great work ever since, really. And again, for me, like Frampton's in my eyes, one of the greats from British boxing, really. And just to be in the ring with him, like it was a dream come true and like unreal experience. And then I'm lucky enough to do it now on a regular basis. So I'm really lucky, and like I said, I couldn't be in a better position in my eyes.
Do you feel like it gives you a slight advantage in terms of, you're going into fights now, you are getting decent fights. Does it kind of give you that little boost going, do you know what? I've been in Northampton.
Yeah,
Does it
it's
kind of give you a
confidence, isn't
boost?
it? Because a bit of self-confidence, yeah, because I mean, mixing it with, like, I know it's sparring and it's not a fight, it's not the same. It doesn't really matter how good you are in sparring. It's all about how you perform under the lights, in my opinion. But again, just being in there and saying like you've been in there, it's some people they'd be like intimidated by the thought of that you're a sparring partner for someone like that. So for me, it's more a negative for them, and I wouldn't really say it's a positive for me. I sort of just try and get on with it, really.
And that's like Dean Jones. Do you feel like you're able now, sort of moving through the ranks, that you are able to show a little bit more about what you can do, what you can bring to the game? Because obviously in the beginning, you don't really get that much of a competition, so you can't
Yeah.
really open up.
Yeah, well, I mean, in terms of my first couple of fights on the VIP show, I was actually pretty tough, really, above my weight, quite above my weight. And I sort of performances have been getting better as I've gone on, really. So I think I'm just getting used to boxing under the lights and being a professional boxer. Because as you know, it's a different sport to amateur boxing. So just getting used to it all, and I'm sort of getting it now. I feel I've only been a pro just over 12 months now, so it's coming slowly, and I feel like moving forward, the performances are going to get better, no matter who's in front of me.
Because you're a nice, aggressive front foot fighter. You're very adaptable as well. Are you sort of? Has it been hard to make that transition from, the amateur game to the pro game in terms of tactics?
I wouldn't say it's been hard for me. It's just been sort of because as you know, like the amateur fights, I'd take them on 1, maybe 2 days notice. So it was really fast paced and like last minute sort of thing. Whereas this, it's like a whole camp leading up to it, and it's a big event in the fight. So it's just sort of getting used to that, being a professional boxer, I think, and then being in the fights, using my brain and thinking, well, which is something that Jamie talks to me about a lot, and going through the tactics. Like I've not really had a fight where I've had to employ tactics and sort of do that sort of thing. So it's not really been that difficult as of yet.
So, are you campaigning at lightweight or is it super featherweight? Because have you boxed at both as a pro?
My fight in December was super featherweight, and this last one was a lightweight. Yeah, but I think I could maybe even do feather. So at this point in my career, it's just sort of seeing where I best sort of feel and where I fit best. So there's not really, as you know, like there's no titles on the line at the moment. So it's just, sort of just seeing where I feel best. So definitely super featherweight, maybe even featherweight.
Yeah. And let's talk about your amateur career. Can you tell us a little bit about it for people that don't know you? I know that you were, is it Northside ABC?
Yeah, Northside ABC. It was a great club, really. I started there when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I finished there, finished my amateur career there as well. I had great coaches there and did really good as an amateur, to be fair. I started and I was poor, to be honest. I think at one point my record was maybe 1-9. I think I'd 1-7, lost 9 or something like that at the time.
Okay.
And I'd lost about 3 or 4 on the trot. And my dad said to me, look, son, on the way to a fight he said, look, if you lose this one, just forget it. He said, just call it. And I looked at him and I was like, are you serious, Dad? And I remember going to the fight and I didn't stop punching for 3 rounds. I just kept on punching. I was like, I'm showing my dad. And then I ended up winning about, I think, nearly 25 fights on the bounce after that, which, as you know, in the amateurs isn't easy to do. And then I just sort of kicked on from there. Something just sort of clicked in me then, and I won 9 area titles, won a national title, English title, boxed for England as a senior. So I did pretty well, and I won some medals abroad as well. So I did well considering how poor I was when I started.
It's interesting. Firstly, do you think your dad was doing that because he knew you well and he knew that you were going to go a metaphorical 2 fingers up? Or was it you just going, oh, fucking show him?
Yeah, no, I think my dad knows me pretty well, because I started and I was really, really overweight at the time. And my dad had trained me tough, really hard. Me and my brother at the time, who was a boxer, and then ended up being my coach afterwards. They both know me really well and they know how to push the right buttons and get the best out of me. And that's why I'd always have them part of my team as well, because my brother, as you know, he comes to the gym now and he still pads me, pads Carl, Chantel, Rocky, all of us. So it's important for me to have him in the team because they know me well. better than anyone so far, really, because they've known me for so long.
What's lovely about that is, and for boxing coaches that are involved in the amateur scene, I'm an amateur coach, and sometimes people do feel that if a boxer's continuously losing, that they should pack it in. You are a great example as to why you should just let a kid just continue boxing, even if it's for fun.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I feel like boxing is bigger than just sort of winning world titles and, you know, making lots of money and fighting on TV. I think boxing saves more lives just through changing kids' mentalities. Because before I started boxing, I was always getting into fights and in the wrong, I wouldn't say the wrong crowd because we was only 7 or 8, but then people that I used to hang around with them, some of them, you know, in prison, doing drugs, you know, and doing the wrong sort of thing. Boxing took me away from all of that, and it just gave me a sort of dedication for the rest of my life. Growing up through the teen years, and especially when my friends were messing about, going out, doing the wrong sort of thing, I was like, I know I'm fighting next week, or I'm fighting in a couple of weeks, so I'm training. So I didn't really have time for any of that. So boxing saves so many lives, and people need to. I think over the last couple of years, people are starting to recognise that more and more, which is great, really, for the sport.
It's funny because people always think that's a cliche, don't they? But it really does save lives.
You know what it is? People think, oh, why these kids are fighting outside using knives and whatever. Why should we teach them how to fight? They're just going to end up fighting outside more. These kids know how to fight anyway. It's about them channeling their energy in the right sort of way for me.
Absolutely. So, talking about being at that gym, a VIP gym with Dribble and Jamie, I mean, is it one of those things that you just can't wait to get back into the gym because you're surrounded by that much sort of quality?
You know, our gym, there's just a great feeling there, and I'm not the only one who says that, and we're not the only people that say that. You've been to the gym, you know there's great atmosphere in there, and it's as hard as it is, you enjoy it. So I think going out of the gym, sometimes I think, wow, that was an hard session, that. But then when I go home, I think I'll text Jamie saying what time tomorrow straight away, because I just want to be straight back in there because of how much I enjoyed the hard work, rather than just going through the hard work and thinking, oh, that was hard. Like you do in most gyms, really. But in our gym, there's a great atmosphere. We're all friends. We all get on, and you just want to go back. And I can't wait to be back in now.
Yeah, the vibe in that gym is quality. And just one question. Do you need an interpreter to understand Nigel Travis?
I think, you know what? I think the only person that doesn't need an interpreter for Nige is his missus. Apart from that, I think we all do.
I think that's because she's probably just attuned her ear to it over the years.
I think she's used to it now, isn't she?
Yeah, he's a great guy. He was a captain.
Oh no, you know what? If there was anyone that I wouldn't mind being in a lockdown with, it's Nige, because of how funny he is. Really, he's got great banter.
yeah, he does. He was the captain of Fitzroy Lodge when he was down in London.
He tells us some stories. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say you'll have to tell me another time some of them.
Yeah, I've got some
stories on him.
Oh, can't wait to hear them.
Sorry, go on.
No, go on, carry on.
That. No, I was going to say, to date, what are the best things that have happened in your career, and what are the worst?
Wow, that's a good question, that. I'd say for me, the best thing so far is signing with Matchroom. It has to be that, and boxing for England the first time and putting on the vest. Yeah, they've got to be my best 2 memories in boxing. But you know what? Even just like sometimes, like I said, just going to the gym every day and having that to fall back on, because boxing is my best friend. It has been for the last 10, 15 years nearly. So boxing for me, it's just changed my life, and hopefully it carries on changing my life. But my sort of worst memories would be like in the amateurs, as you know, there's bad decisions and stuff as well that you get. I had plenty of them in you know, the ABAs and stuff as well. So they were probably the worst times. But like I say, it's all about riding the storm. And a lot of kids, when they get them bad decisions and robberies and, you know, where they should have won the fight, and they think, oh, you know what, forget this boxing, and they walk away from it. Some of them, I've spoken to some of them, and it's the biggest regret of their life. And I can honestly say, like, the biggest thing for me is just sticking to it and, you know, seeing the end goal, because it always gets better. It's not always bad. You get the bad decision and you get over them and you win again. So you know, that was my motto in the amateurs. As soon as I got beat, or like even if it was an unfair decision, I'd say to my brother, right, I need another fight to get over that. And
Yeah.
that was my attitude.
It is difficult to watch people get robbed, because just myself, I sometimes think that kid might leave the sport now.
Yeah.
And then we've lost somebody that could be a potential, winner, or as in champion, etc. What about, though, you've turned over pro? How has that been in terms of, people change towards you, don't they, when you start doing very well? Have you experienced anything like that, or has everyone been quite cool?
You know what? To be fair with you, I'm from like Oldham. As you know, it's not really a big town; it's a small town, and even through the amateurs, like everyone says to me, "Oh, now they say to me as a professional, like, oh, you're a big ticket seller, aren't you?" But even in the amateurs, everyone was behind me. They've always supported me, and I can't be thankful enough for it. I've got a great fan base, and as you know, like in the pros, it's getting bigger and bigger, obviously. But I've always had a big fan base. I've always been used to, fighting under pressure and fighting for a lot of people, because some people can't really do that. You know stories about some fighters that are great in the gym, but then when there's loads of eyes watching, they're not the same. But I've grown up around that. I've grown up in that sort of system, so I'm used to it now. And to be fair, people haven't really changed to me. Not as of yet. I'm not really doing that well. But
there's time.
But in terms of like my fan base and my support, it's the best, and I couldn't ask for more.
That sounds good. And apart from the people in your gym, who else inspires you? Which other boxers, or anyway, anyone, to be fair, who inspires you?
Like I said, my brother and my dad definitely pushing me and guiding me the way they did. And sort of in terms of fighters, I'd say Amir Khan was a massive one for me, because I was sort of in 2004 when he went to the Olympics. I think I was five years old. I was, so I was only a baby, but I remember him going pro, and I remember him going through the ranks. I remember watching it, and I just remember thinking, he's from a family exactly like mine, background exactly like mine. If he can do it, why can't I? So I said to my dad, I want to go to a boxing gym. And my dad took me, and like all the way then, watching his career progress, he ended up winning world titles, ended up doing really, really well. And I thought, if he can do this, why can't I? And I just always stuck with me that, and even to this day, really, I look up to him.
I mean, it is good to see a representation of yourself on the screen, isn't it? Isn't it? Is that proper English? I don't even know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of course. It makes it a lot easier to sort of picture yourself in that position then one day, and sort of gives you that inspiration to go on and push and try and do as well as this person, or even better.
And what are your ultimate goals? Let's say for the next couple of years. And have you got a time frame?
I've got no time frame really, no sort of goals where I want to do this and that within this time. But I want to be a world champion. I want to look after my family forever, and that's my plan. And to be fair, when I fight and who I fight, it isn't really up to me. That's up to Jamie, Steve Wood, my manager, and obviously Matchroom now. That's up to them. I just fight whoever's put in front of me. I'll fight them, because I genuinely believe if my team didn't believe in me, they won't put me in with them. If they didn't think I could win, they won't put me in with them. And I believe I can beat anyone who they put in front of me. And going forward, that's always been my attitude since being 8 or 9 years old. Really, I've always sort of had that. And yeah, going forward, I want to be a world champion, and whoever's in front of me, I'll beat them.
Nice answer, and I particularly like the bit about looking after your family.
Yeah, of course, it's important, because like I was saying just before, they've done so much for me, and I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be nowhere near where I am today without them. So I'm always thankful for my family and my friends that support me.
Can I ask you, I know that it happens or has happened in the past in the amateurs. Have you ever boxed during Ramadan? And if so, how do you sort of prepare for that?
I've never actually boxed in Ramadan. I've never had a fight in Ramadan, but I've always trained during Ramadan. I sort of, obviously you fast throughout the day, and then you do your prayers and stuff as well. But I think your spiritual health is just as important as your mental and your physical health. And for me,
Absolutely.
Ramadan, it's really good for cleaning the soul, in my opinion. And yeah, people say, oh, you can't drink. You get the same question every year. You can't drink water. You can't eat nothing. And it's literally no. So I wait until we open the fast. I have a little meal, then do a little workout, and then eat, and then you go sleep again. Really.
What are you saying that some people say you can't do? I didn't catch that bit.
So every year people ask like, you can't even drink water. So like, how do you train? But I always wait until the fast is open, because I think it's
Yeah.
dangerous to train like without having been able to drink water. Because obviously, especially in weather like this,
Yeah.
you could sort of get dehydrated and it could be dangerous. So I always wait till I've had my meal, and then a couple of hours later I'll do my training, and then same again, go sleep and then repeat. Really.
Yeah, that's good advice. That really is good advice. So, what has this period taught you in terms of what have you taken for granted before this quarantine period?
Well, obviously for me the big thing is not being able to go to the gym. That's probably the hardest thing. But I think for me, you've got to look at the positives of it. We're now doing things that we wouldn't ever do. Like every day, we'll sit down, all the family will sit downstairs and we watch telly together and sit and have a laugh. Whereas usually we're all so busy that no one's at home and no one really talks to each other really. The only
Yeah,
time we talk is when something's happened. So you've got to look at the positives of it, and I think you've got to stay positive as well, because if you stay inside and look, the weather's nice and stuff as well, that makes a big change to it too. Because if it were raining outside and you sat at home, it could be a lot worse, and your sort of
yeah.
mind could play tricks on you. So I think you've got to look at the positives of it more than anything, really.
And finish this sentence. Because of COVID-19, I am grateful for.
My family, definitely.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And back in the day, we did used to sit in the same room watching television. I guess you guys have never
Yeah.
experienced it at your age. So any sort of dates that
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everyone's in the.
Say that again. I'm saying, is it a new
I
concept
said,
for
yeah,
you?
we're usually in our rooms, aren't we, on our phones as kids?
No, you are.
Yeah.
I think it's your age group.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
So do you have I know it's quite difficult for you to kind of look too far ahead, but were they discussing any fights for you sort of around September, November, later
Well,
on in the year?
I know that Dylan White is fighting in Manchester in July, I think the start of July. So if that one goes ahead, I think I could be on that one potentially, because it's here in my hometown. But apart from that, no, nothing really. I was supposed to be fighting on the 18th of April, which was last weekend, in Oldham, but that obviously was postponed and cancelled. So yeah, we just have to wait and see now. Really, it's very difficult at the moment to see when boxing's actually going to be back, and if it's going to be back this year or when.
Well, they're talking, aren't they, of doing stuff behind closed doors. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's good in one respect, because you're getting back into action, but then you're not getting that whole vibe, are you, from the crowd?
Well, at the start, when it was mentioned at the start, I think a lot of people were sort of like, "Oh, I don't know about that. Don't know, maybe," because it's sort of unknown. But I think the longer this is going on, the more people are warming to the idea, and I always like the idea, because I feel like as a fighter, you should be able to just turn it on and win a fight, no matter
Yeah,
who's there or watching, without any crowd. And I think I would. I think I'd be pretty good in that sort of scenery or setting. No one there, so it's still the same for me, because the guy across the ring's trying to take your head off, so you can't. You're not gonna let him, are you? So you've got to try and win. You've got to do your best to win. So in my opinion, I think it's a good idea. And for me, at the moment, there's no sport on whatsoever, so everyone would love the idea, I think. And if they could watch sport, they'd be over the moon, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. I mean, it's hard for people that aren't involved in boxing to really understand how hard it is not to see,
Yeah.
not to be in those gyms, not to,
Hmm.
I was going to say smell those smells, but I think we can do without that, can't we? But it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. When the time is right, when everything's all clear, I'll make a trip to Manchester again
Yeah.
and come and visit you.
Yeah, no, cheers, thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks very much for your time.
Cheers, thank you.
If you like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber of Shadowboxer UK, we'd love to see you, so please go ahead and subscribe now.